Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. How we doing? How we doing? Let me get it straightened up. Shabbat shalom. How we feeling out there? So today we don't have anybody in here, but we're going to get right into the children's lesson. I'm quite sure some will be piling in shortly. Hope that we're taking care of ourselves. The sickness is still floating around. Of course, COVID. Hope that we keeping y'all first and that we taking care of our bodies and nourishing our bodies with the food necessary to fight this sickness. But of course, we know that y'all got us, right? So we're going to get off into the 10 Commandments, followed by, just going over the books of the Bible for the kids. And then we're going to go into today's topic, which I'm still talking about the split kingdom, the split kingdom series, which today we'll talk about Jeroboam. Okay. All right. So first, the 10 Commandments. How is my sound quality? If y'all could, let me know. If some of y'all is tuning in, let me know how the sound quality is, please, so I can adjust it as needed. All right, so first we have, this is the 10 Commandments. You shall have no other gods before me. All right, with some of those other gods, of course, you see this picture. It's showing money, it's showing fame, and the things that we give our energy to, that is considered idolatry, right? You shall have no other gods before me. All right, no other gods before you. So whatever you put your efforts into more than the Most High was definitely considered your God. All right, and that's definitely considered idolatry. Okay? So you shall have no other gods before me. You should not make for yourself an idol. All right. And of course, the scriptures, even though this picture may be off, but the scriptures is more talking about something that you make with your hands and bow down to. All right. So you should not make for yourself an idol. You shall not misuse the name of Yahuwah your Elohim. All right. So how can we misuse the Most High's name? All right. There's different ways. We can make a vow in his name and not uphold that vow. Okay. We can swear falsely in his name. Okay. And then, of course, if we swear falsely in his name, we're defiling his name. All right, because the Most High is true. All right. There's nothing unrighteous about the Most High. All right. So when we do something unrighteous and we put it in his name and we swear in his name, that is considered unrighteous, and that's considered the misuse of his name. All right. So when we make a vow, and the scriptures tell us not to make a vow at all. Let our yea be yea and let our nay be nay. Right? It's best for us to do it that way. It's best for us not to make a vow. All right. But if you do make a vow, at least let it be true. All right. But it's best not to make a vow according to our Lord Yeshua HaMashiach. Remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. How can we keep the Sabbath day holy? We can do things like watch shows pertaining to like the Most High. Like we can watch cartoons, Joseph, King of Dreams, Veggie Tales, Little Isaac, things like that that deal with the Most High, and people that's dealing with morality. People that's dealing with righteousness. All right, we can watch shows that deal with stories out of the Bible. We can watch 10 Commandments. Now, of course, some of these shows is not necessarily fully accurate, but watching shows that at least deal with the scriptures is definitely a way to have our mind focused on dealing with the Most High. Of course, what else we can do? We can come in fellowship. We can come and we can read our Bibles. We can pray, rest, and the like, right? Rather you go in fellowship. Honor your father and your mother so that you may live long in the land Yahuwah your Elohim is giving you. Shalom, shalom. How's that? Can you check our sound?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just like from the phone, like to see if our sound. Yeah. Honor your father and your mother so that you may live long in the land Yahuwah your Elohim is giving you. All right. How can we honor our father and mother? All right. So let's think about it. We can keep our father and mother with a good name. So if we have a falling out with our father and mother, that doesn't give us the right to go and speak against their name, or speak against them amongst our friends and other people. Right? We want to keep them with a good name. Remember, fallouts can be temporary, so it's not going to last. But how you honor your mother and father, all right, those things have a lasting impression to the Most High. Right, so he definitely want us to, honor our father and mother. That's one of the main commandments, as you can see. You go and spew dirt on your mother's name or your father's name to your friends. Y'all falling out. You're falling out with your mother and father is nothing but temporary. That don't mean that she don't love you. But now you have put dirt on her name and you've spoken bad against your mother and father to your friends, and they are going to say things about your mother and father, so you've given her a bad name to them, to people that don't really matter, right? And if you will do it to them the way the Most High work, you will probably do it to him. He wants us to treat them with the same respect that we'll treat him. Of course, him much more, but they're physical representations of him. They represent him in the flesh. You shall not murder. You shall not murder. All right? So what is murder? Murder is when you, let's say if you have a falling out with a friend. All right? You have a falling out with a friend. You don't like some things that he said against you. You go home and think about it. The next day you come back and you kill him. You shoot him or you stab him. That is considered murder. All right? That is considered murder. Versus if somebody try to rob you, or if that same friend, as a matter of fact, we'll use this same example. If that same friend decides to defend itself when you come against him, and he end up killing you because you approached him with a weapon, then that is considered self-defense. That is not murder. Somebody died, yeah, but that is not murder. Okay? So you shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. Adultery for a woman is when a woman goes to another man and have sex and sleep with another man outside of her marriage. All right, that is adultery for a woman. Adultery for a man is when he divorces his wife without no reason, for any reason other than adultery and fornication, and he gets another wife. So a man, when he commits adultery, is when he divorces his wife for any other reason other than her committing adultery, and he gets another wife, right? Or if a man sleeps with another man's wife, that is adultery, okay? If a man sleeps with another man's wife, if a woman sleeps with another man's husband, that is adultery. All right? Sleeps with another man's husband, all right, without them actually being married, okay? You should not steal. You shall not steal. You shall not steal. In this case, we don't really know this woman's financial status, but let's pretend like she's poor. If this woman is poor, what should she have done? The store clerk right now is showing her stealing from the store, looking to see if the store clerk is actually going to see her and catch her. So what she should have did is she should have went and asked whether the store clerk would let her get some free food or free snacks. So her stealing, there is no excuse. The commandment does not say thou should not steal except you being poor. No, thou should not steal. There is no exception to this, regardless of your financial status. You shall not give false testimony against your neighbor. All right, first let's deal with neighbor. The word neighbor is many family breakdowns that fall under the word neighbor. So you got a brother and sister, you got mother and father, okay? You got aunts and uncles. All of these are considered your neighbors. All right, consider Israel. When Israel came out of Egypt, they all was family, with the exception of the mixed multitude that followed them out and decided to join itself unto the nation of Israel. They were all family. They all came from Jacob. Okay? So if that's the case, that word neighbor is not necessarily somebody that lived next door to you, even though they could have been living next door to you, but it's not talking about that in the Bible. In the Bible, it's talking about a family structure. And in this situation here, so you got two men, young men, they was playing baseball. One hit a ball through the owner of the house, which is him, hit it through his window. And now he's lying on him, saying that he did it, fearing the consequences. Because many times we may fear consequences when we bear false witness. That's not always the case. But here, because he feared, he's doing this. He's blaming him and saying that he did it, when he should have just took responsibility because it was an accident. All right, we have to make sure that we take responsibility for our own actions. You should not give false testimony against your neighbor. You should not covet anything that belongs to your neighbor. All right, you shouldn't covet anything. What does it mean to covet? It means that it means to lust. You shall not covet anything that belongs to your neighbor. Right? All right, now this woman here is, let's pretend like whoever owns this house is their family member, because remember, we're talking about neighbors, and the true definition of neighbor is family. Her brother owns this house. She's lusting after it. When you covet somebody's possessions, usually you're making a plan to take away their possessions, or to do something to where you may acquire those possessions. You may have those possessions, right? But they don't belong to her. So this car, this nice car, this nice house belongs to her brother, and because she won it, now she start to devise a plan, to create a plan to take away his possessions. So then, say if she goes and tries to take away his possessions, like she decides to break into his house. So then how are you going to actually do it? You break into his house, you steal some things out of the house. Okay, guess what? You steal it. Now you break in another commandment. So not only did you break this commandment, but you broke thou should not steal. What if she murdered her own brother? Like, what if this was her brother's house and she murdered her own brother? You shall not covet anything that belongs to your neighbor. She murdered her brother because she couldn't control her lust for her brother's her brother's nice possessions in his house and his car. So she murdered him and take his house, take his possessions in his house. Now she's committed murder and she stole, right? So, and then ultimately she committed idolatry, because you shall have no other gods before me. Well, what caused her to commit idolatry? Her lust that she could not control, right? She couldn't control her lust. These items, the nice house, the nice car, became her God. You shall have no other gods before me. All right? All right, so that's the end of the 10 Commandments. Let's talk about the books of the Bible for a second, all right? So you got the different breakdowns of the Bible. You got the law. You got the law, which is Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. That's the law. You have history, which is Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel, First Kings, Second Kings, First Chronicles, Second Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, and Esther. All right, those are the history books of the Bible. You have poetry or writings, Job, Psalms, you got Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Song of Solomon. Job, Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Song of Solomon, right? You got Isaiah, this is the major prophets. You got major prophets, let me make sure y'all can see this. You got major prophets, and you got the minor prophets. And you got Isaiah, Jeremiah. Let me make sure y'all can see this. Isaiah and the major prophets. Hold on, let me adjust this thing. All right. You got Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, and that is Lamentations as well, which is written by Jeremiah. All right, those are the major prophetic books because Lamentations is actually written by Jeremiah. Okay, so you have that. Then you have the minor prophets, which you have Hosea, Joel, Amos, Obadiah, Jonah, Micah, Nahum, Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, and Malachi. Those are the minor prophets. All right. Then you have we're going to go into New Testament now. All right, so these first 4 books in the New Testament are the Gospels. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. These are the Gospels. You got New Testament history, which is that book of Acts. You got the book of Acts. Now, I want to say this because when we talk about the history of the Bible, all of this contains some level of history to a degree. But it's just the books that's labeled history actually deal primarily in what happened to our forefathers during a time where Israel, our forefathers, was actually in the land. All right. But Genesis through Deuteronomy deal with history, and so does Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, especially when we living in this time and we reading about it. So that's what history is, when you're reading about past events, right? So Acts, you got the book of Acts, that's considered the New Testament history. You have Romans. Here's the epistles, which is letters to the churches, all right? The letters, these churches are, they call them Romans, writing to the people, but you got the church at Rome, you got the church at Corinth, you had the church at Galatia and those that's around about it. All right, the church at Galatia, there was other churches that was around Galatia. So that letter was actually sent to those churches as well. You have the church at Ephesus, the church at Philippi, the church at Colossae, and the church at Thessalonica. Okay, and so now I'm gonna show you the epistles. Romans, 1st and 2nd Corinthians, Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians, 1st Thessalonians, 2nd Thessalonians. These are all churches that's written. Now there is more churches than that's written in the book of Revelation, right? But we're talking about the books of the Bible. All right, and like I said, the church at Galatia, it was multiple churches in that area that this epistle was shared with. All right, here's more letters. Epistles to friends. So these are people that's over the churches, over some of these churches. So you got 1st and 2nd Timothy, Titus, and Philemon. 1st and 2nd Timothy, you have Titus, and you have Philemon. Okay. And then you have general letters or general epistles. You have Hebrews, James, 1 Peter, 2 Peter, 1 John, 2 John, 3 John, Jude, and Revelation. All right, and Revelation. All right, so that makes up the entire Bible. Some of the things, we'll continue to go over this so that you can learn the Bible. But the good thing to know is that how to identify the Bible is by the different sections that we went over. All right, you know the sections, you can probably identify where a book is in the Bible. All right, but sometimes, and as you read it more, it'll just become more and more familiar. So I encourage you to read your Bible, ask questions. All right, you have elders here, you have elders, like you have the leadership that's here, but then you also have elders amongst the congregation that can help you with that. All right? All right, so let's go into today's lesson. So we're still talking about the split kingdom. All right, we in a whole series about the split kingdom. And today we're going to talk about Jeroboam. Now, I don't know if some of you may be watching this, may remember who Jeroboam is, but Jeroboam worked under Solomon. He worked under Solomon, and it was prophesied to him that he would be the king over the northern 10 tribes of Israel, right? So Solomon, it was told to him also that he would have to wait until after Solomon is dead in order to become the king over the 10 tribes, because the kingdom wasn't going to be taken from Solomon because of the promise to David. So the Most High allowed Solomon to continue to reign over the whole kingdom of Israel, but it was stripped from Rehoboam. We went over Rehoboam last week. And when we went over that, we went over who he was over and who Jeroboam was over, right? So we're going to talk about Jeroboam briefly today, and then we're going to wrap it up. Give me 1 second. All right, so if you can, go to 1 Kings chapter 12 and verse 26. Remember, we're talking about Jeroboam today. Let me see. All right, and it reads, First Kings chapter 12, verse 26. We'll start there. And Jeroboam said in his heart, now shall the kingdom return to the house of David. Now, at this time, Jeroboam has received the kingdom. And you had Rehoboam, who's Solomon's son, to reject him from them being a nation as a whole. And so now the 10 tribes is in his hands, right? So here, let me go back up some just so we can get some understanding. We did touch on this last week, but I'll go back over it. And it came to pass, this is verse 20, and it came to pass when all Israel heard that Jeroboam was come again, that they sent and called him unto the congregation and made him king over all Israel. There was none that followed the house of David, but the tribe of Judah only. And when Rehoboam was come to Jerusalem, he assembled all the house of Judah with the tribe of Benjamin, 180,000 chosen men, which were warriors, to fight against the house of Israel, to bring the kingdom up to Rehoboam, the son of Solomon. So Rehoboam had the tribe of Judah and the tribe of Benjamin under his kingdom. But the word of Elohim came unto Shemaiah, the man of Elohim, saying, Speak unto Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, king of Judah, and unto all the house of Judah and Benjamin, and to the remnant of the people, saying, Thus saith Yahuwah, ye shall not go up, nor fight against your brethren, the children of Israel. So Rehoboam wanted to have the kingdom to himself as a whole, all 12 tribes. But it was already prophesied that this would not happen because of Solomon's ignorance and him worshiping other gods. All right, so Most High is now stopping him from trying to go to war with Jeroboam, because Rehoboam want the kingdom to be unified, but because of the prophecy, the Most High is not going to allow that to happen. Right? Thus saith Yahuwah, ye shall not go up nor fight against your brethren, the children of Israel. Return every man to his house, for this thing is from me. So the Most High is saying, this thing is from me. This what I'm doing, the reason you're not going up there is because this is from me. I'm the one that's causing this split. Right? They hearken therefore to the word of Yahuwah, and return to depart according to the word of Yahuwah. Verse 25, Then Jeroboam built Shechem and Mount Ephraim, and dwelt therein, and went out from thence, and built Penuel. And Jeroboam said in his heart, Now shall the kingdom return to the house of David. If this people go up to do sacrifice in the house of Yahuwah at Jerusalem, then shall the heart of this people return again unto their Lord, even unto Rehoboam, king of Judah, and they shall kill me, and go again to Rehoboam, king of Judah. So Jeroboam is in fear that if the children of Israel go down to the temple in Jerusalem to keep the law, they would turn away from him and in turn try to kill him. So he was more worried about his position at this point, as opposed to listening to Yah saying, I have given you these 10 tribes to rule over. All right. So he was worried about them. He didn't trust at this point. He didn't trust in Yah's authority, because Yah is the one that gave him the authority over the 10 tribes. So even if they were to go to Jerusalem, as long as he was loyal to the Most High would have made sure he ruled in that kingdom. But watch what he do to prevent this. Watch this. Verse 27. If this people go up to do sacrifice in the house of the Lord at Jerusalem, then shall the heart of this people turn again unto their Lord, even unto Rehoboam, king of Judah, and they shall kill me, and go again to Rehoboam, king of Judah. Whereupon the king took counsel and made 2 calves of gold, and said unto them, It is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Behold, thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. So Jeroboam is causing them to sin. He's causing them to commit idolatry. He made 2 golden calves. Now what does the commandment say about rearing up 2 golden calves? Look what he said. And then I'm going to show the commandments. It says, whereupon, verse 28, whereupon the king took counsel and made 2 calves of gold, and said unto them, It is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Behold, thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And he set the one in Bethel, and the other put he in Dan. And this thing became a sin, for the people went to worship before the one, even unto Dan. So look at that. The people went to worship the golden calf that he put in Dan. Now let's see what the commandments say. First of all, it says this: you shall have no other gods before me. All right, you shall have no other gods before me. Then it says, you shall not make for yourself an idol. You shall not make for yourself an idol. Right? You shall have no other gods before me, and you shall not make for yourself an idol. So what was Jeroboam thinking? He didn't trust in Yah. The same power that gave him the 10 tribes, 10 of the 12 tribes of Israel, he didn't trust them. And he decided to make a god and say, these are the gods that delivered you out of Egypt, when that's not true. So he's causing the northern 10 tribes to commit idolatry. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself an idol. See that? Let's keep reading. And verse 30. And this thing became a sin, for the people went to worship before the one, even unto Dan. And he made an house of high places, and made priests of the lowest of the people, which were not of the sons of Levi. And Jeroboam ordained a feast in the 8th month. So now these same, like he verse 31, it says he made an house of high places and made priests of the lowest of the people. All right. So he didn't choose the Levites to be priests, being the priesthood no more, which were not of the sons of Levi. And Jeroboam ordained a feast in the 8th month, on the 15th day of the month, like unto the feast that is in Judah. And he offered up on the altar. So did he in Bethel, sacrificing unto the calves that he had made. And he placed in Bethel the priests of the high places which he had made. Verse 33. So he offered upon the altar which he had made in Bethel the 15th day of the 8th month, even in the month which he had devised of his own heart. So he created his own holiday. He created his own holiday, right, to worship this golden calf, the one that's in Bethel. Even in the month which he had devised of his own heart. And ordained a feast unto the children of Israel. And he offered upon the altar and burnt incense. So he created a holiday for one of these golden calves, the one in Bethel, right? And caused the people to go and worship this golden calf. That is idolatry. All right. You should not make for yourself an idol, neither shall you bow down to it. And bowing down is just saying that you shouldn't worship another the idol that you created. You should not make for yourself an idol, neither shall you bow down to it. All right? So we're going to wrap it up with that for today. We'll go back into Jeroboam next week. Again, I hope that you all are taking care of yourselves. I hope that we're eating right. But first and foremost, we need to be keeping Yah first. Okay? So I hope that we are doing those things. And with that, I say shalom, Shabbat shalom. And we will be starting praise and worship shortly, followed by today's main lesson. Shabbat shalom.